are constantly standing in grocery stores and calculating and thinking about how the money transfer works. It's been 2 years for me in the UK. I still I'm like, okay, for bigger expenses, I'm still calculating because everybody had savings in INR, like the Indian rupees. Cost of living and other things are absolutely very legit, real, valid reasons to think about.
And I think it's important. I think factor sometimes I also don't talk about it a lot is you need to consider inflation of your cost because currency will weaken. Indian rupee has been weakening.
And another thing is it's actually very long and time taking, the kind of hiring process the UK has. It can take months, two months, 3 months for you to actually find a final opportunity.
Exactly what your part-time role was and with whom and what was your kind of the work that making your potential employers as part of your college projects and then just using that as a way to network with them,
But getting a UK reference will comparatively always give you a better edge. And I actually got once the Imperial job, I cleared a few rounds for that part-time role.
If you are looking to study abroad, then watch this full video and subscribe to our channel to stay updated.
Do you think because you were slightly older, you had more confidence and you felt that other students who were younger maybe kind of felt shy?
Absolutely. I think when it comes to being shy, I am mostly an introvert, but I
same as for me, guys. I'm always on camera, but I'm an introvert too.
And people don't believe me when I say that, but I definitely feel like younger students, I think they have a lot more to process when they're coming here. A lot of them have spent at least my friends back from Hertford University. This was the first time they were ever living outside their home or away from their parents, or even if they had a little bit of work experience a couple of years. This is the first time they've made this huge transition to a new country. And I feel like I was living away from home for almost 8 or 9 years before I made this move to Scotland, and I was very certain that I don't have to deal with I have to cook food for the first time for myself, or I have to just buy groceries and stuff. And I saw those poor people really struggling with those things, and I was like, it's going to be fine, it's going to get better. And I just wanted to be. So I think.
Roti bana rahe hain.
Yes.
Oh God.
So I definitely want to the reason why I'm talking about it so honestly is because I know it's a lot about the course and the course you pick and the subjects you do and how you perform inside the university. But the life outside the university really shapes how you deal with that pressure. So I definitely feel I don't know about confident, but I was more aware of the risks of not getting a job after the course. I was more like a reality check on me was harsh.
I think what you mean to say is that you were not in that honeymoon world, where everything is rosy and Valentine's Day, and you were okay, I need to get a job, because I need to make sure I'm successful.
Pay back my loan, and I know all those other students are also really under financial stress, and they really want to. Most of them are trying to break even and say, oh, we don't want to take money from our families, and we don't want to they don't really share how difficult it is when you are constantly standing in grocery stores and calculating and thinking about how the money transfer works. It's been 2 years for me in the UK. I still I'm like, okay, for bigger expenses, I'm still calculating because everybody had savings in INR, like the Indian rupees currency, and it doesn't translate that well for the UK economy.
And the pound has been gaining over the last 2 years.
Yes,
so.
I just had a chat with a friend. She's gone on to study in Dublin a year after I started here. When I came over to the UK, it was 107 or 108 rupees for a pound, and now it's 117. And I was like, she's in Dublin and she's seen that as well. So I think cost of living and other things are absolutely very legit, real, valid reasons to think about.
And I think it's important. I think factor sometimes I also don't talk about it a lot is you need to consider inflation of your cost because currency will weaken. Indian rupee has been weakening and 10% more, right? Because you are still moving INR to UK to spend that money. So absolutely. I think that's a great learning. But yes, I think the reason why I made you put all this effort into coming here and meeting me, Shamita, I think is to understand. You came a couple of years ago. Is UK still a place for international students, especially Indian students like us, to come and study? Students still getting job, part-time job. You got a part-time job. You're doing a full-time job now, which we want to go and understand more in detail because when I'm talking to my students and I'm sharing all of this knowledge on YouTube, the biggest question I'm being asked is, Piyush, okay, we understand these are good universities. You're telling us real candid candid, blatant truth, sometimes very uncomfortable to everyone. We want to understand a recipe for success. We understand that recipe for success will not 100% outcomes. What exactly? We started this journey a year ago, like I told you. We started with interviewing students in different universities and then started publishing that content. Now, this year, we want to really make it about how do you build a great career in UK. So I think I'm getting pumped with a lot of energy and getting really great vibes from you. Do you mind if we just walk and talk and
of course.
maybe show people around? We are in this nice place, this nice mall that we are in. Also, I think one thing that Shamita has been sharing was that this is a place where you have a lot of career fairs,
Yeah,
right?
I have been to a few job fairs here in Westfield as well, and I think they do have that. Do you want to walk now?
So this is the Westfield Mall, guys, and we were talking about your experience, job opportunities here in the UK, right?
So yeah, I definitely think like the first bit of aspect was, I think the job, like the economy and the job market, it definitely is like a little tricky to navigate. It's not like as straightforward. But when I think about like back home in India, it wasn't like looking up for a lot of industries back home either. When I did like comparison in my head, I was like, okay, it's going to be a little bit of a pace where you are risking whether you have like a full-time permanent role after you finish your course, but it's also like having that extra additional like opportunity to see if you can have access to this sort of global exposure. Having said that, I feel like it's definitely a little bit of how you position yourself in the market. Like you mentioned, like a lot of global MBAs and a lot of executive MBAs do offer like a bit of everything, but by the end of those courses, I see a lot of like Indian students or like a lot of Desi, South Asian students struggle how to pitch themselves to the job market, and they are looking for a job, any job. And while part-time like roles can pick up in like the hospitality sector and like so many other ways where you're either entering retail or like other like industries, you can always use that experience to leverage that, oh, I've been here from day one and I'm trying to contribute to this economy in my way. And this is what I've picked up, and this is how I have sort of used very specific skills from that role and added it to my CV, as opposed, oh, this is just a job I was doing to pay the bills. So I feel like it's a mix of both, and it's a lot of like strategy work in your head and a lot of also good luck and good like meeting the right people and a lot of networking. So when I got the part-time role with Imperial College London, I jumped
So
at
tell us exactly what your part-time role was and with whom, and what was your like kind of the work that
Yes, absolutely. So I don't want to give it all to luck, but I was just, even before I landed here, after that visa fiasco, I was like, okay, I have to earn back very quickly. So I started like cold emailing a lot of companies, and within Imperial College London, the Grantham Institute had a few internships, paid internships for like helping them run their programs, run events and things like that. So I just applied for it randomly and saying, oh, like, you know, maybe that's the last day of applying, or I think I missed the deadline. But I still was very cheeky about it, and I just went to them and I was like, I really want to work with you, I love your work. And part of their work I was using as a presentation in my course. So what I did was, I just told them like about very honestly that this is me, this is my CV, if you guys want to have a look, this is my portfolio, and I really want to contribute in that like climate, sustainability, comms space. And they wrote back and they were like, no, the internship's done, like we found someone. But there is another role which is part-time, and it's a communications and EDI officer role for another project, and it's going to be fixed contract for a year, a little more than a year and 3 months. Are you interested in this, and would you want to apply? And I was like how many times?
Your pooch. You know,
and how many times do you hear back? Like Imperial is right now the second best university in the world. So like, how many times do you hear back from a company like that, and like with an encouraging response? I was like, okay, this is like, I'm feeling something from here. So I might as well just, you know.
And where did you discover this Imperial opportunity?
Oh, so I was like I said, like I was doing research for my sustainable design management project that I was supposed to do for my first semester, and this is like September, like when the welcome week finished. And I think like I'm a little bit of a nerd, I have to say this, because the moment the project was assigned, I started doing research for it. Decided that okay, I'm going to be able to build like not a similar but like a creative platform for women-owned businesses which are like sustainably conscious in the UK for my project. And for that I was doing research and stuff, and this is like a tip I'm going to say. I've also shared it with like other colleagues and friends who do ask me like, oh, like, you know, just tell me what worked for you sometimes. Is like while you do a lot of research for your projects here in the masters, and you have to reach out to people, you have to get interviews, or you have to get people like valid codes. That's an opportunity to always network and like get some face time with someone, even if it's on a Teams call.
Right.
I feel like don't like that opportunity to like email people, because here people are like really nice about responding to you to be a part of your college projects.
Right.
And I really benefited from that. Like,
I think that's a fantastic idea, you know, just making your potential employers as part of your college projects, and then just using that as a way to network with them, you know.
So guys, let's take a small pause and let me tell you that I counsel hundreds of students looking to study abroad every month. And I am here to help you guys, not just with understanding your profile, which country or university is the best one for you, but help you through the admission process. And me and my team will get you your visa on time. And if you want a one-on-one counseling session with me, please go into the description. There is a link to my Calendly and you can book a one-on-one slot with me. And let's get back to our video now.
Yeah, it's been a bit of a roller coaster with that one, but I definitely like this is a great opportunity. I applied to them. I had already applied for other things. I did a little bit of work as a school outreach ambassador for Hertford University. Shout out to them as well, because your university will have part-time roles which does like events or does like volunteering work. They'll always need someone or the other.
Right.
So it's always good to like just keep looking student-led roles, or like in general like roles that might engage you. They might not always be rewarding. They might not always be like in my case, I was happy because it was like a climate ambassador's role,
right.
and I was working with like P6, P7 students to create like this training. They were visualizing the future of their schools. So it worked really well with my college projects and with the career that I'm planning or like trying to pursue here.
So you did some ambassadorship work in climate
for the university,
communication with the University of Hertford as well.
Yes.
And
so that's volunteered and it's paid for like every training you get like some bucks and things.
Right.
But what I was really looking for is, and that is something that I've heard from people in the UK that I know from before, is if you get like companies, even like non-profits to endorse you, especially universities, to just say that, hey, I know this person, they've spent some time volunteering with us, or just like, you know, giving extra inputs after their course. It really shows like your commitment to continue to make a career here.
And also, I mean, shows your like vouch for your professionalism, and you know, and with a lot of time with international students, I mean, that's one thing people are worried about, I guess, right?
Yeah, because like a lot of your references back home from India, they will respond to like job opportunities here, but like getting a UK reference will like comparatively always give you a better edge. And I actually got like, once the Imperial job, I cleared a few rounds for that part-time role. I ended up getting 2 references from that climate ambassadorship and my course coordinator, who were like, again, people from Hertford University, resources like you said, who were willing to just say, yeah, Shamita is a legit person, we've seen her.
Unlike the UK embassy, you know, who said, no, we have suspicions.
Yeah, so I think like that was that worked in my favor more. And like just like once I started visiting London for my actual role, once I started working here, I started like planning some networking events, like just attending networking events. Not all of them were centered around like me getting a job at those companies, but just like growing my LinkedIn network and things like that. So for context, I had maybe like not even 200 connections, but then like I reached like over 500 connections in a few weeks time, just because I was meeting people, showing up and just letting them know that this is, like, you know, this is me, this is, I'm
so you got to put
role.
in the effort, you got to put in a genuine effort, and then just keep doing it. You don't know who will come to rescue when, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like, so I definitely feel like it's a lot of energy. Like I'm not like going to say it's a bed of roses, it's going to be very easy, and everybody does not have the same journey, and everybody will not have the opportunity to like fly down to London all the time, or like I used to take trains to come down to London, but everything's very expensive. So you're constantly thinking about the cost of investing in this networking.
Right.
But if you're here, you might as well give yourself that extra nudge, because that might help solidify a long-term plan for you. And once I started showing up for work, they had an expectation of like 60% of my time being here in person.
Okay.
So the comms and EDI officer role required me to like set up a lot of specific comms for their Better Futures Retrofit Accelerator. They were doing like a project with young startups and SMEs who are working in the built environment to help reduce London's greenhouse gas emissions. So for me, it was like a perfect segue from my last job to this, which is where I wanted to use my university
So you were
skills.
working part-time, but you had to be in London for
60% of the time. Yeah. So
And that was like a very
Yeah.
big commitment to
Yeah.
make, right?
I was very like scared and skeptical when I got the offer, but to think like if I was to dial back and think about that time, had I not taken this job, I actually didn't hear back from anywhere else. So like for that winter, if I hadn't jumped on, and this was my first semester when I got this job, so like all the other places I applied or cold DM, I'm not saying like it's so great, I got lucky, but nobody else responded. Had I not taken that
You
job,
need to be lucky. To be lucky, you need to try enough.
Yeah. So, yeah, must have done, and I know a lot of people say this, I would have done like over 200 applications a week, and it was like intense, and you sort of like lose hope also sometimes that oh maybe you'll not get a part-time job, and I felt like for me to go like start looking for a completely new industry, it will take me a lot more time to adapt to the new industry. So I was first trying my hands in something I knew, and then open to also trying other bits, but I got like a little right kind of mentorship, and I got a lot of people don't talk about that. Like, you can always use your faculty members as a mentor, and you can tell them that you don't know how to go about this entire process. And then I finally, last year, I decided to, like my visa was sort of running out, the student visa. And I was like, okay, I have to apply for a post-study work visa, but I need a full-time job to be able to, like, again, make it make sense. So I applied for a lot of roles within Imperial as well, and that is one thing that I feel like once you've joined a company, try and look for like internal hiring opportunities or like other opportunities, even if it's like a maternity cover role or short-term contract, because that shows like you're really committed to contributing to that company or that like experience, because they spend a lot of time training a new person whenever.
And they have like trust in you that they have already seen you work, so absolutely.
Yeah, and once you've learned all those systems and things like that, you will definitely be more hire worthy for that company than any other company. So instead of like starting something from scratch in another role, I was first actively looking for internal job openings. I did get a lot of interviews as soon as I converted my visa. Before that, I did not get any interviews. So it's a little real that like you really like the visa and the job conversations happening parallelly. So once I got the PSW, started hearing back from other places, but nothing as concrete as like how far I got along with for this business school role. Like I had one stage of interviews, and another thing is like it's actually very long and time taking. Like the kind of hiring process the UK has, it can take months, like 2 months, 3 months for you to actually find like a final opportunity.
Fantastic to understand that how you use your ambassadorship at Heriot-Watt to turn it into part-time or an internship at Imperial College, and then eventually turn that into a full-time job, right? So, and some things which are very important, I think, Shamita, for I think everyone to understand is using your faculty, I think is very critical and very helpful in that sense. I think also very important is that how you, wherever you are putting in the work selflessly. Right, and trying to network with people, even like this conversation, right? I don't know, someday, you know, I hope I can be of some help to you, but also trying to just reach out to everybody out there. Maybe they're going to watch and then somebody says, okay, oh, Shamita is doing this, connect with me, and trying to connect with you. So I think doing stuff selflessly, trying to just be out there.
So if you like this content, please subscribe to our channel, and I will see you all in the next video.